In the heart of rural Missouri, in 1875, a child was born who would one day build one of America's greatest retail empires, only to give much of it away. James Cash Penney arrived on September 16th as the seventh of 12 children born to a Baptist preacher and his wife. Only 6 of those children would survive to adulthood, a harsh reality that taught young Jim about life's fragility from his earliest days. His father, Reverend James Penney, was a man of unwavering principles but limited financial means. The elder Penney farmed to supplement his meager preacher's income, yet money remained scarce in the household. When Jim turned 8 years old, his father delivered a life-changing message. The boy would need to earn money to buy his own clothes. No exceptions, no help. It was a tough lesson, but Reverend Penney believed his son needed to understand the value of money and the dignity of work. Young Jim took the challenge to heart. He began raising watermelons on a small plot, tending pigs for neighbors, and taking on any job that would earn him a few coins. The experience burned into his consciousness a fundamental truth that would guide his entire life. Success required hard work, and nothing worth having came easy. His father also taught him another principle that would become the cornerstone of his business empire: the golden rule. Treat others as you would want to be treated. Simple words, but revolutionary when applied to business. Life in Hamilton, Missouri wasn't easy for the Penney family. Reverend Penney tried to introduce progressive ideas to his congregation, including starting a Sunday school for children and asking for modest financial support for his family. The church leadership turned on him. They called him a heretic. In front of his 14-year-old son, they excommunicated both James and his wife. The boy watched his mother stand beside his father and declare, "I believe as Jimmy does." Then they were cast out. The experience scarred young Jim deeply. The very people who claimed to follow God's teachings had shown cruelty and judgment instead of compassion. He turned away from organized religion, though the moral teachings remained embedded in his character. He would carry this wound for decades, even as he built his fortune. After graduating from high school, Jim dreamed of becoming a lawyer. He wanted to attend college, but his father's death from tuberculosis shattered those plans. The family needed support, and Jim needed work. A family friend gave him a job as a clerk in a dry goods store in Hamilton. His starting salary was $2.27 per month. It was honest work, and Jim threw himself into it with characteristic determination. But then came devastating news. The same disease that had killed his father now threatened Jim. He had contracted tuberculosis. The doctor's prescription was clear: move to a drier climate or face the same fate as his father. In 1898, at 23 years old, Jim Penney packed his belongings and headed west to Longmont, Colorado, hoping the mountain air would save his life. In Longmont, Jim saw an opportunity. He opened a butcher shop, believing he could make it succeed through hard work and fair dealing. His biggest customer was a local hotel, and the business seemed promising. But then the hotel's chef made Jim an offer that would change everything. The chef wanted a bottle of bourbon delivered each week as a kickback for continuing to buy meat. Jim refused. His principles wouldn't allow it. The chef took his business elsewhere, and the butcher shop failed. It seemed like disaster, but that failure freed Jim from the wrong path. He found work at a local Golden Rule store, part of a small chain of dry goods stores. The owners, Guy Johnson and Tom Callahan, operated on revolutionary principles for the time. They sold goods at one fair price to everyone. No haggling, no games. They treated customers with respect and honesty. Jim found himself learning a business model that aligned perfectly with the values his father had taught him. Jim proved to be an exceptional employee. He worked tirelessly, studied every aspect of the business, and treated customers with genuine care. In 1902, Johnson and Callahan recognized his potential and made him an offer. They would provide 2/3 of the capital to open a new store in Kemmerer, Wyoming, a rough mining town, if Jim would put up 1/3, $2,000, and manage it. Jim had saved the money, and he took the deal without hesitation. Kemmerer was about as far from sophisticated as a town could get. The population of around 1,000 included mostly miners, and the main street featured 21 saloons. It was a hard-drinking, rough-living community, but Jim saw opportunity where others might have seen only hardship. He opened his Golden Rule store and set about proving that honest business could succeed anywhere. That first year, 1902, the store did $29,000 in sales and generated a profit of $8,500. Jim had turned his inventory almost 4 times, a remarkable achievement. His 1/3 share of the profits equaled several years of salary for most workers. More importantly, he had proven his concept worked. Within a few years, Johnson & Callahan offered him partnerships in additional stores. By 1907, when his partners dissolved their relationship, Jim purchased full ownership of 3 stores. Around this time, Jim married Berta Alva Hess. She was a woman of grace and strength, and together they built a life and a family. Berta gave birth to 2 sons, and Jim's business continued to grow. By 1912, he operated 34 stores across the Rocky Mountain states. In 1913, he incorporated under a new name, the J.C. Penney Company, and moved his headquarters to Salt Lake City. Jim's business philosophy set him apart from other retailers. He paid his employees well and offered them something unprecedented: partnership. Store managers received shares in the company's profits. He called them his partners, and he meant it. He believed that when people had a stake in success, they would work harder and treat customers better. He also insisted on treating customers fairly, charging the same prices to everyone, and accepting only cash. No credit, no debt, no complications. The business exploded. By 1916, Jim began expanding east of the Mississippi River. During the 1920s, J.C. Penney stores opened across America. 120 stores in 1920 grew to hundreds more each year. By 1924, Jim's personal income exceeded $1 million annually, equivalent to roughly $15 million today. By 1929, the company operated 1,400 stores, and Jim was worth an estimated $40 million, over $500 million in current value. But success brought sorrow. In 1910, while Jim was traveling on business, his beloved wife Berta fell ill. She died at Christmas, leaving Jim devastated with 2 young sons. He was only 35 years old. "In that hour my world crashed about me," he later wrote. He had built an empire but had no spiritual foundation to sustain him through grief. He wandered the streets of New York in despair, eventually finding himself in the Bowery, among the city's most desperate. One cold night, he heard music drifting from a rescue mission. He followed the sound and slipped into the back of the chapel. A well-dressed merchant was speaking, telling his story of having fallen into despair before the mission helped him find purpose again. Jim realized he was looking at his own reflection. That night planted a seed that would grow into a deeper faith, though it would take years to fully bloom. If you're finding this story compelling, consider subscribing to the channel to hear more remarkable true stories of American business history and the extraordinary people who shaped our nation. Jim remarried in 1919 to Mary Hortense Kimball, but tragedy struck again. Mary died in 1923 from complications related to pregnancy. Jim had been widowed twice before Aide Caroline Murray Autenreith, and together they would have 2 daughters. This marriage would last until Jim's death. As his fortune grew, so did his generosity. Jim's father had been a minister who served others, and Jim felt compelled to do the same with his wealth. In 1926, he founded the Penney Retirement Community in Northeast Florida, a place where retired ministers, missionaries, and YMCA workers could live with dignity. He purchased land, built nearly 100 cottages, and established a beautiful French Norman-style church. Ministers of all denominations were welcome. The community still exists today, a living testament to his vision. Jim also invested heavily in agriculture. He believed America needed better livestock, so he established farms for purebred Guernsey dairy cattle and Aberdeen Angus beef cattle. He purchased his father's old farm near Hamilton and turned it into a showcase for quality breeding. He started Foremost Dairy Products, which would eventually become one of the largest dairy corporations in the world. He bought 120,000 acres in Florida and envisioned a farming community that would provide opportunities for families. In 1927, He took over the struggling Christian Herald magazine and the Bowery mission that had helped him years earlier. He poured his business expertise and his money into these charitable causes, serving as the magazine's president. He gave generously, quietly, constantly. Then came 1929. The stock market crashed in October, and the Great Depression began its devastating march across America. Jim had borrowed heavily against his stock to finance his philanthropic ventures and land purchases. He watched helplessly as J.C. Penney's stock plummeted from over $100 per share to $13. The banks called in his loans. His Florida real estate, which he had purchased at peak prices, became nearly worthless overnight. Jim lost almost everything. He sold his mansion in Miami Beach. He gave back control of the Christian Herald and the Bowery mission to Reverend Daniel Poling, unable to continue funding them. He lost foremost dairies, though he retained some stock. Most painful of all, he had to borrow against his life insurance policies just to meet the company payroll. The man who had built an empire through careful conservative business practices found himself financially ruined. The emotional toll proved even worse than the financial devastation. Jim fell into a deep depression. His health collapsed. His relationships with colleagues frayed. Even his family felt distant. He contemplated suicide. At age 56, this man who had everything seemed to have lost it all. Friends convinced him to check into the Battle Creek Sanitarium in Michigan for treatment. He was physically and emotionally exhausted, broken in ways that no amount of money could fix. One morning, unable to sleep, he wandered the sanitarium corridors. From the chapel, he heard voices singing a hymn he remembered from childhood. God will take care of you. The words spoke directly to his wounded heart. Be not dismayed, wait or betide. God will take care of you. All you need, He will provide. God will take care of you. Something broke open inside Jim Penney that morning. For the first time since his youth, he felt a genuine connection to faith. Not the judgmental religion that had cast out his parents, but something deeper and more personal. He surrendered his pride, his need to control everything, his self-reliance. He became what he would call a born-again Christian. The experience didn't solve all his problems, but it gave him the strength to face them. Jim slowly rebuilt. The J.C. Penney Company survived the Depression, partly because it operated on cash, carried no debt, and offered low prices that people could afford, even in hard times. Though Jim had lost his personal fortune, the company he had built proved resilient. His partnership model meant that hundreds of store managers had ownership stakes and fought to keep their stores open. They succeeded. By the late 1930s, J.C. Penney was growing again. Jim stepped back from day-to-day operations, but remained chairman of the board until 1946, then continued as honorary chairman. He never truly retired. He visited stores, mentored young employees, and kept preaching his gospel of the Golden Rule. In 1940, at a store in Des Moines, Iowa, he spent time training a young management trainee named Sam Walton, teaching him how to wrap packages efficiently and serve customers well. Walton would later found Walmart and credit J.C. Penney with teaching him fundamental business principles. Jim lived to see his company rebound completely. By 1951, J.C. Penney achieved $1 billion in annual sales. By the 1960s, the company had stores in all 50 states, including Alaska and Hawaii. At its peak in the 1970s, more than 2,000 J.C. Penney stores served communities across America. The company that had started in a rough Wyoming mining town had become a national institution. Throughout his later years, Jim Penney wrote and spoke extensively. He authored several books, including 50 Years with the Golden Rule and View from the Ninth Decade. He received honorary degrees from universities, despite never having attended college himself. He sat on boards, advised young entrepreneurs, and continued giving away money to causes he believed in. In 1954, he established the James C. Penney Foundation to continue his philanthropic work in a structured way. The foundation supported education, healthcare, and opportunities for young people. He remained passionate about helping others succeed, about creating opportunities, about treating people with dignity and respect. When asked about the secret to his success, Jim Penney always gave the same answer: the golden rule. "I know the secret of our success was the golden rule," he told the Associated Press at age 85. "When I followed it, things went well. When I became neglectful, I got in trouble. It was that simple and that profound." Jim Penney died on February 12, 1971, at age 95. He had lived through the horse and buggy era and witnessed men walking on the moon. He'd built a fortune, lost nearly everything, and rebuilt his life on firmer foundations. He'd been widowed twice, raised children, established communities, and touched millions of lives through his business and his generosity. At the time of his death, his personal estate was worth $35 million, but that number barely scratches the surface of his impact. The Penney retirement community still provides homes for retired clergy. The J.C. Penney Foundation continues, supporting education and opportunity. The company he founded, though it has faced modern challenges, employed hundreds of thousands of people over its history and served countless communities. Jim Penney gave away a life of luxury not once, but repeatedly. In the 1920s, he poured millions into charitable causes when he could have simply accumulated wealth. After losing everything in the Depression, he rebuilt and gave again. He understood something that many wealthy people never grasp. True success isn't measured by what you keep, but by what you give away and the lives you impact. His life teaches us that principles matter more than profits, that character outlasts wealth, and that the golden rule isn't just good morality, it's good business. He proved that you can build an empire while treating people with fairness and respect. That generosity and success aren't opposites but complements. James Cash Penney rose from poverty, conquered tuberculosis, built an empire, survived devastating personal losses, weathered financial ruin, and emerged as one of America's most respected businessmen and philanthropists. His legacy isn't primarily the stores that bore his name, though they served communities for over a century. His legacy is the example he set of living with integrity, serving others, and understanding that we're called to be stewards, not hoarders, of the resources entrusted to us. If this story has inspired you or taught you something about American business history and the power of principled living, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more documentaries about the remarkable people who built America.